Cancer, how are you? Let's do a reading for your current energy, shall we? As always, please take what works, leave what doesn't. We all know who we are in the story. Now, I sure appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. And if you appreciate what I do here, help me out. Hit that like button. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really makes a difference to my channel. And I'd love to see my channel continue to grow. So help me make that happen. All right, Cancer, let's see what's coming through. We've got the Seven of Pentacles coming in reverse to the Moon card. So, I mean, there's a situation that I think you need to kind of let go. All right, you've tried to make something work. It's not working, all right? And intuitively, I think you want to go down another road anyway. So if you have been doing something that, you've been in your head over this. I mean, it's just like, I don't really want to keep going. What's the point of going? It's just not working for me. And I think, the Moon card is calling you, to make a decision, all right? So here we have the Fool card in the recent past. So I think you're at that point. It's just like, do I keep going or do I let it go? Do I give it another chance or don't I? All right, because here we have the Death card coming in reverse. So you're sitting on the fence here, trying to figure out whether or not you should continue, invest more energy, invest more time, invest more money, whatever it is, I think it's something that, you've really tried to make work and, you want to believe, here we have the Star card, that it's going to be okay. But in your head, I think you understand that maybe I gotta let it go, especially if this is gonna cost me more in the end, all right? I've already put so much time and energy and money into something or someone, and I just not feeling it, all right? And here we have the King of Pentacles. I think it was a great idea. I think if it was to work, it was going to bring you a lot of money. It was going to really be successful, but, here you are sitting here going, I'm just not feeling it, and I think you're losing steam, all right? Because here we have the Knight of Cups as some of your energy, all right? And the Knight of Cups says, oh, this just isn't fun anymore. This isn't where I have my heart and soul. I mean, this is not something that I feel like I need to continue, So I think you really struggle with whether you should or you shouldn't do something, and it's just like, gosh, I started this, all right? I started this a while ago. Maybe it was foolish. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but now with this Death card coming in here reversed, it's just like, do I really want to call it quits? Do I really want to bring it to a close? Is this something that I really need to be doing? Should I be thinking this way? Or should I be more positive, and trying to get things, to work a little bit quicker or make things, manifest so that you feel good about, putting in all this work here? In the energy of the Eight of Swords, I mean, you are really, going through all of the scenarios in your head, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, I mean, they're really running rampant. And I just feel like, you're at that point where, a part of you says, I'm done. Here's the Judgment card. I don't want to keep going. I mean, I think logic says you should go a little bit further, but your heart says, I don't really want this to continue. I just am not feeling it. I'm not manifesting what I want. This isn't working out. I'm feeling a little empty, a little lost. I want to be hopeful. I really do. And maybe things could turn around. Maybe, if I try a little bit longer, they could. But your heart is not in it. All right, let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. We have the Page of Wands also coming in reversed. So and below that we have the Six of Wands, which is also reversed, saying, this isn't going anywhere. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I was hoping for. I've already done this so much that, I'm really feeling like I need to just let it go. Especially when we have the Page of Wands, I mean, here is this dry desert back here in the background, and it's just like, yeah, this would be really, really great. I'll get it off the ground and we'll explore other, possibilities, and maybe we could travel the world, it'll be just something really, really great. But it comes up reversed, right? This page is saying, this is not working. I'm getting like, wah. It's like, at this point, it's just like, how much more do you want to continue doing something when you know that you just don't want to try anymore? And I think this is that week where it's just like you're really struggling with, should I keep going or should I let it go? All right, because the Judgment card says, I don't want to try this anymore. But the Death card says, well, maybe we can, do it a little bit, and just go a little bit longer, because you're holding on to this by a thread. All right, whatever this thing is that you've invested so much time and energy into, you're at that, like, I don't know if this is worth it. I don't know whether I should keep going, in the long run. Is it going to pay off? Well, that was your hope, but right now that's not what's happening. And it's one of those things, I just don't know what to do. And I think when you come to a place where you're so indecisive about whether you should or you shouldn't, whether you should hang on to, this energy or you should let it go, maybe just give it a little bit of a little bit of time, all right? Just kind of sit with, that whole notion of like, on this hand, I should keep going. On this hand, I should let it go. And just sit with that for this week, just the next 7 to 10 days, and just kind of let it just, process through, it's just like, and just see if maybe, a little insight comes in that says, oh, you know what? I know what I could do to transform this and really make this happen. Something I haven't tried yet. Because remember, we have the Star card here. And the Star card says, this is something you really wanted to do, and this is something you are really after. Do you really want to let it go right now? Because it's just not going anywhere. Do you need to just kind of wait until, the season opens up and then you'll know, or are you going to give up before that even happens? Where are you? All right. So I'm just feeling like this is a week where your heart is not in it. All right. I get that, I've been through so much that, I know what it feels like to be like, I can't do this week. I just can't, because I'm not going to do a good job. I'm not going to do it well. And I think this is where you're at. You're at like, I just, maybe not this week. Maybe give it a break, maybe take some space away from this, thing that's been really dominating your life and you've put so much energy into it. I would say one thing, I wouldn't put any more money into whatever this investment is, and see what can you do with what's already going on, and, really weigh it out. Should I or shouldn't I? Should I end it? Should I keep going? Should I try at least till springtime? Is this one of those things, give it till, mid-year? I don't know, only you will know that answer, but I think this is a week where you don't make that decision, all right? I think this is a week where you just got to let things kind of process and let your feelings through and give yourself a little bit of grace, all right? Give yourself that time and that space to really kind of decide, not with, a whole heady thing, but give yourself the space to kind of get out of your feels and start to see things a little bit more practical, a little bit more logical. How can you maybe, continue to do it without putting so much energy into it? All of those things. Take this week to find that out, all right? Because I think, if you make a brash decision based on the fact that this week you just don't have it in you, next week you might have some regrets, and, we want to make sure that the steps that we take are really sure-footed. And the Star card continues to be the dominating energy here. It's just like, don't lose sight of what you really want, all right? And just know that, there's a season for everything. The Wheel of Fortune is always up and down and spinning around, and there's good days and there's bad days. And I just think this is one of those weeks where, heart and soul isn't there. So take that time away from it and then come back to it and see if maybe with a little bit of rejuvenation, you will know exactly what to do moving forward. All right, so that's what I've got for you, Cancer. Please take what works, leave what doesn't. We all know who we are in this story. I sure appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that like button. And with that being said, be happy, be healthy, be kind. Bye now.